What's good, y'all? It's Coach Mark, and I'm here with a video. I don't care who you are, if you're just starting, if you're experienced, if you're intermediate. Here is my hot tip for making sure that your class doesn't suck, okay? This is very pertinent for people who are just beginning, but as an intermediate and an expert, I'm gonna give you some basically kind of the same tips that will help your class go really well. So when you begin working out, okay, you may have been you're probably of the age where when you showed up to work and you showed up to, when you showed up to school and high school and college, you would get all of your information from a library, and there was like the Dewey Decimal System, and you had to there was Encyclopedia Britannicas. Basically everything was kind of stored away in this kind of lockbox of knowledge. Today, all of that information is on what we call the internet, okay? Anything that you want to know is found somewhere on the internet. It is really a magical thing. I say this with zero sarcasm, okay? It is really kind of quite miraculous just how much information is at our fingertips. Now, onto my point. If you are a beginner and you are stepping into class, there's basically two things that we want you to know. So number one is, yes, it may be very intimidating to come in. However, all of the stuff that you're gonna be doing in class is on SugarWOD. The workouts, the movements, the weights, all of that stuff is listed on SugarWOD. So before your class, in the morning, the night before, an hour before, what you should do is prepare for the class. See what you're going to be doing in class. Check out the movements. Check out the weights. Am I lifting 95 pounds? Am I lifting 225? Am I lifting heavy? What is a dumbbell snatch? Am I using a barbell? And then what I want you to do is, if you don't know what a certain movement is, don't just play the ignorant card, but look it up on the internet. Go to YouTube and look up CrossFit how to barbell snatch, or CrossFit how to double dumbbell snatch. So that's just an example that I'm using. When you come in and you play ignorant, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but what's happening is you're kind of setting yourself up for feeling confused, feeling overwhelmed, when in reality you can also essentially eliminate all of those feelings by taking some time and looking on. And SugarWOD even has a function of looking up videos on SugarWOD of what is a power clean, what is a wall ball, what is a burpee, so on and so forth. Now, once you kind of understand exactly what every single individual movement is, you don't need to go onto YouTube or the internet and look up what is a hang squat clean, all right? I don't need to look up a dumbbell thruster. However, probably what's happening is there's certain movements that you're really terrible at. There's some movements that you're kind of okay at, and there's some movements that you're really horrible at. And the reality is the movements that you're horrible at, you have to do, so you can't cherry pick. Your responsibility is to go on the internet and look up, how do I remove restriction? How do I stretch out? How do I practice so that when I get into class, I have a better experience? Come in with some ideas that are individualized to yourself. Don't just show up waiting for some enlightenment to come to you. The coach is going to help, but in reality is, in 10 minutes, we can only go over so much. If the night before you spend 20 minutes yourself saying, okay, how do I overhead squat, and how do I get better ankle mobility, right? How do I get a better front rack position in the power clean, or how do I get my elbows under for the wall ball? All of these things, you can look up different ideas that are on the internet, okay? So, and then lastly, if you're an expert, if you have great positioning, there's no restrictions, there are plenty of movement efficiency videos that you can look up. So now, if you're looking up box jump overs, you're looking at burpee, bar facing burpees, you're looking at, cycling power snatches, you may not need to remove restriction, or maybe you already know how to do that, but there are plenty of people who go online and say, listen, if you're doing 75 power snatches in a row, here are my top 3 best efficiency tips. And as an advanced athlete, that's really where you're gonna make the money. If you can save a half second off every rep, and you do 75 in a row, that's the difference between you, quote unquote, winning or getting a PR versus struggling, gasping for air or anything like that, or taking like a minute and a half more for your workout, okay? So basically, that is your responsibility as an athlete. Whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced, there is a ton of information that you can look up and then test and try on yourself so that you can come in and get rid of those feelings of, I'm overwhelmed, there's too much, I don't know what he means when he says single arm, overhead, walk and carry. All these things, you can take responsibility. So hopefully that's my big fat recommendation video today.